We are learning the Sikha for Chelek Yud Beis, Parshas Emor. A fascinating Sikha, where similar to some of the Sikhas we've had the last couple of weeks, this is a fusion of Chassidus and Nigla, where the topic in Nigla is illuminated by the explanation according to Chassidus, and it brings together a much deeper understanding of this medrash and the medrash and the Gemara that we bring in the Sikha. So the Sikha is about Sfiras HaOmer, because in this week's Parsha it tells us the mitzvah of counting the Omer. So it says like this: Ala pasuk usfartam lachem imachras haShabbos v'geimar sheva Shabbos tmimis tiyanu. The pasuk says you should count from the day after Shabbos, which, as we know, means the day after the first day of Pesach. Imachras haShabbos means imachras Yom Tov. And Tez Zayin Nisan, we start counting the Omer. And from that point, Sheva Shabbos tmimis tiyanu, we count 7 complete weeks. And then the next day, the 50th day, is the day of Shavuos. The Medrash says in Kehelas Rabbah, Tani B'chia learned, B'chia taught, Ksiv, it says Sheva Shabbos tmimis tiyanu. The pasuk says that it should be 7 complete weeks. When are they complete? Bizman she'ein Yeshua v'shachniya b'neihem. In a time when you don't have Yeshua and Shachniya in between them. What does this mean? Matnis Kuna explains the name of the Rekeach. It says like this: if Rosh Chodesh Nisan is on Shabbos, Yavi Pesach b'Shabbos, then the first day of Pesach, Tezvav Nisan, is on Shabbos. And then Mitzvah Shabbos is Earl Tezayin Nisan. That's when they'll start counting Sfiras HaOmer. Then Sunday is the first day of Sfira. Shabbos is the 7th day of Sfira. Sunday, the 8th day of Sfira. Shabbos, the 14th day of Sfira, which means that the week of Sfira follows the same week as the days of the week, Sunday through Shabbos. That's what it means. When is it Tmimos? According to Rabbi, when the Sfiras HaOmer follows the days of the week, Sunday through Shabbos. And this reference to Yeshua and Shachniya is a siman. Ki kishachol Pesach b'Shabbos, azaya mishmaros Yeshua v'Shachniya li'avdu b'Beis Hamikdash min Pesach la'atzeres, because when Pesach falls out on Shabbos, then Yeshua and Shachniya, which are names of mishmaros, names of families that were the shifts, part of the 24 mishmaros that work in the Beis Hamikdash, these mishmaros did not work between Pesach and Shavuos. In very short, Yeshua and Shachniya were number 9 and number 10 in the order of Mishmaros. The Mishmaros would begin on the Shabbos of or the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So, and the week of Pesach, there was no specific Mishmar. It was a week that all the Mishmaros were able to do the work in the Beis Hamikdash. So if Shabbos is on Rosh Chodesh, so if Rosh Chodesh is on Shabbos, then that Shabbos, which is that first week, going from that Shabbos till the next Friday, is the first Mishmar. The next one is the second Mishmar, which is the second Shabbos. The next week is Pesach, so there's no Mishmar. Then there's 6 more weeks of between Pesach and Shavuos is the next 6 Mishmaros. Yeshua is number 9, is already serving the week after Shavuos, because Shavuos is on Shabbos, and it's the following week that Yeshua serves. So Yeshua and Shachniya are after Shavuos. If Pesach is the middle of the week, which means Rosh Chodesh is the middle of the week, then the first Mishmar began half a week before Rosh Chodesh. Let's say Rosh Chodesh is Tuesday, so the first Mishmar began a half a week before Rosh Chodesh. Then you have a second Mishmar, which comes in half a week after Rosh Chodesh. Then another Mishmar that comes in another week later. So you already have 3 Mishmaros working before, for the 2.5 weeks before Pesach. And then you have 6 Mishmaros that come after Pesach. That's already 9. And if they worked during the week of Pesach, then you already have 10. So Yeshua and Shachniya are between Pesach and Shavuos, or at least Shachniya starts before Shavuos. And Yeshua and Shachniya will be after Shavuos. So in other words, in short, if Pesach is on Shabbos, Yeshua and Shachniya are after Shavuos. And if Pesach is on the middle of the week, Yeshua and Shachniya are before Shavuos. Either way, the siman that this medrash gives is that when do we really call it tmimos? When is it really complete? When your Pesach is on Shabbos and the days of the Emor are being counted from Sunday through Shabbos. This raises two questions. Question number one: Pirush hakasa b'machras Shabbos ilachol adayis. All the Chachamim agree that Mimachras HaShabbos means the day after Yom Tov, the day after the first day of Pesach, and not Mimachras Shabbos Bereishis, which would mean a Shabbos of the week. Even if Pesach falls out on any of the other days of the week, in the time of the Chachamim, the Baitusim, which were a group of people that followed the Torah literally, similar to the Tzedukim, they timed the Machras HaShabbos means the day after Shabbos, Sunday. So if Pesach is on Tuesday, you would wait a few days till Shabbos, and then the Sunday is when you would start counting Sfiras HaEmer. And the Chachamim argued with them and said that according to our understanding, according to Torah Shebal Peh, Mimachras HaShabbos means Mimachras Yontif, the day after Pesach, which would be Tazayin Nisan, regardless of what day of the week it is, and that's when we count Sfira. And because of that, when they did the cutting of the Emor, they would announce it Magal Zeh, Magal Zeh, Magal Zeh. They would announce everything 3 times in order to make sure that everybody knows that they're doing the Karban HaEmer on that day, and they're not doing like the Baitusim. But all the Chachamim agree that Mimachras HaShabbos means the day after Pesach. Umizem muvan. When it says right after that in the pasuk to count 7 complete weeks, it means counting 7 weeks by counting every single day. That you count each 24-hour period, and you get to 49, you have 7 complete weeks. As Chazal tell us, where do you find 7 complete weeks? When you start counting in the evening. If you start counting every single night, that you count the Emor for the next day, then you have a complete misles, then you have 7 complete weeks. So the question is, how is it possible to the Medrash to tell us that it's only Tmimos when the Kviyas of Sefira starts on Sunday, Amatzoi Shabbos? In other words, Tmimos is something that can happen every year. It doesn't anywhere say in the Torah that Tmimos is just in certain years. And when in other places Chachamim have referred to the fact that Tmimos means when you count every single day, and the pasuk says in Machras HaShabbos, Tispiru Chamishu Sheva Shabbos Tmimos Tiyana. So why is the Medrash telling us that you can only have Tmimos if Pesach is on Shabbos and Sfiras HaEmer starts on Sunday? And the second question, and if the second question is, even if you're going to tell me that I'm wrong, and the Medrash is telling me that it's not always Tmimos, you only have Tmimos when you start counting on Sunday, so that you have the 7 days of each week of the Sfira in the order of the days of the week. It should have been said clearly, concisely, and understood to everyone. It should have said that when is it Tmimos, when Pesach falls on Shabbos, or similar like that, to say when you start counting on Sunday, when you start counting on Shabbos, go straight to the point. Why does he have to say it with a siman and not say it directly? And even if you're going to be telling me a siman, why use this type of siman? Something is kind of siman that would only be known to someone who knows the order of the mishmares, which family came when. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and the fact that Yeshua and Shachni were number 9 and number 10. And this order, the order of 21 mishmaros, was not established in the time of Moshe. It was established in the time of Shmuel and later in the time of David. I think Shmuel established, in the time of Moshe they had 8, in the time of Shmuel they had 16, in the time of David they had 24. So Yeshua and Shachni doesn't happen until much, much later, to when the actual Beis HaMikdash was built, not in Mamish, but in the time of David HaMelech, which is many days after the mitzvah of Sfiras Emor was written in the Torah. So our two questions are, number 1, how can we understand that Tmimos is only when Pesach falls on Shabbos? L'chayda, there should be a concept of Tmimos every single year if you counted all 49 days of Sfira. Question 2 is why, if this is the pshat, why doesn't he tell it to me clearly? Why did they tell it to me al yidei simin? And even if he needs a simin, why did he choose a simin that is sort of ambiguous, sort of unclear to someone who doesn't know the Seder HaMishmaros? Now we're going to his base, and therefore we must come to the conclusion. Therefore we must say that when the Medrash says when is Sfiras Ha'omer Tmimos, when you start counting on Sunday, he doesn't mean the simple meaning of Tmimos. Because you can get the basic understanding of Tmimos, you could reach any time you count all the days of Sfira. When the Medrash says Emasai and Tmimos, the Medrash is referring to a deeper pshat, a remez, something that is not the basic understanding, but is something that is alluded to in the pasuk. The mitzvah, Mishar mitzvah, this mitzvah Sfiras Ha'omer. Shekasher Pesach hu b'Shabbos v'minyan shomei Sfiru k'fi Seder d'Sheshes miBreishis when Pesach falls on Shabbos. And you're counting the days of Sfira according to the order of Sheshes miBreishis, meaning to say the days of the week. Hari Oz Hashev Hashabbos says that Sfiras Ha'omer in Tmimis Gam Pnimis Inyanam. Then you have a secondary Maila, a deeper Maila, that you have Tmimos also b'Pnimius. Not just Tmimis Kipshute because you counted all the 49 days and you did it in the right time and therefore you have 7 complete weeks, but you also have it on a Pnimiistic level, meaning on a deeper level. Which is an additional advantage to the Tmimis that you have in a regular year. And this is why the Medrash says it with a siman and doesn't say it explicitly when is it Tmimis, when Pesach falls on Shabbos. If the Medrash would have said it directly without a remez, without a siman, would have said it directly, I would have misunderstood and said that the only time you have Tmimos is when you have Pesach and Shabbos and Sfira starting on Sunday. And that's why he tells it to me to a siman, because by avoiding to say it explicitly, it is hinting to me to tell me that which is connecting the idea of Tmimos with the Kvius of Pesach, with when Pesach falls out, is not Tmimos in all of the details. Because Tmimos in a literal sense occurs every single year, or could occur every single year. But when you don't have Yeshua V'Shachni B'Neim, which means when Pesach does fall out on Shabbos, then you have another element within Tmimos. So we've answered both questions, at least the first level of them. The first question was, what's pshat? It's only Tmimos when Pesach falls out on Shabbos. So we said, no, it doesn't mean literally that way. It means that the higher level, the deeper level of Tmimos occurs when Pesach is on Shabbos. And we also answered the question why he brings the siman, because he wants to let us know that he doesn't mean Tmimis Kipshutei. Tmimis Kipshutei could happen, which means literally Tmimis could happen every year. But the deeper Tmimos, that happens only when Yeshua and Shachnia are not serving between Pesach and Shavuos, and he says it as a siman to tell me that it's referring to the deeper level of Tmimos, not the basic level of Tmimos. We still have to understand what is this deeper level of Tmimos. What is different about counting Sfira when Sfira starts on Sunday, and in a year when Sfira starts on any other day? And for that, we're going to continue in the Sikha. Ois Gimel. V'hinei. Medrash Rabba Parsha Seinu. So this Medrash that we learned up until here about the Bizman Shein Yeshua V'Shachni B'neihem, that was from Kehelas Rabba. Then we have a Medrash in Bamidbar Rabba, and we find that Matzinu Vayikra Rabba, Matzinu Oid Inyi B'Tmimis. When this Medrash has another concept with regards to Tmimis. Tanya Rabchia, and I believe he brings in the Hara 17 to point out that it's both the same Rabchia. The same Tana that said the previous thing about Tmimos and this one about Tmimos. So therefore, as we're going to see, they must be connected. Reb Chia says, Sheva Shabbos is Tmimos. To the end of the pasuk says there should be 7 complete weeks. Amos ayin Tmimos Bizman she Yisrael Eisin L'Tzein Shalmak. When is it Tmimos? In a time when Yidden fulfill the ratzon of the Eibishter, the will of Hashem. Tzemach Tzedek explains that these two passages of the Medrash, the one Medrash that says the one is in Tmimos, when Pesach falls out on Shabbos, and the other Medrash that says when is it in Tmimos, when the Yidden do fulfill L'Tzein Shalmak, these two Medrashim are connected. V'hainu Shamay L'Tmimos Abba Mitzad Atzma Kisha B'Shana Shachal Ba Pesach B'Shabbos, that advantage that you get, that the weeks are considered Tmimos, and Tmimos B'Pnimiyos Ayinyanim, like we said in the previous Ois, that happens in a year when Pesach falls out on Shabbos, and the counting of the Emor goes from Sunday till Shabbos every week. When the days of Sfira are consistent with the days of the week, you can reach the same concept of Tmimos, the same level of Tmimos, even in those years where Pesach falls out in the middle of the week, and therefore you don't have the counting of the sphere of the Omer according to the week Sunday through Shabbos, but you could still accomplish Tmimos through the Aveda of Eisin Etzein Shalmakim. And therefore, and since the Tmimos could be accomplished through fulfilling the will of Hashem, how they move on this, therefore it is understood, it becomes obvious. Shabir Mahus Tmimos Yuvan al Yedei Akdamas Bir. So if you want to understand what does it mean Tmimos, because we said that the two levels on Tmimos, the Tmimos Kipshutei, and there's Tmimos and the deeper level that happens on a year where you're counting from Sunday to Shabbos. So he said, what does Tmimos mean? So he brought in another Medrash, which says, what is the Tmimos? Bizmanchi Storis and Shenishal Makim. And the Tzemach Tzedek said that you can get there in two ways, either through counting from Sunday to Shabbos, or through Eisin and Shenishal Makim. So obviously, if I want to understand what Tmimos means, I first have to understand what Eisin and Shenishal Makim means, and then I'll understand how from Eisin and Shenishal Makim I get to Tmimos. So now let's do that. Let's try to understand what it means, Eisin Shenishal Makim. That we will understand what our Tmimos are. That we will understand what's the connection between the two, and why on a year, where you're counting according to the days of the week, you have another layer, another element a deeper level of Tmimos. Ois Dalet. Isa b'Gemara, the Gemara says, the Zesha Amar HaKosu v'yasafta d'gonecha v'geimar shenemar v'parsha shniya d'kriyishmer u'bizman she'ein Yisrael eisin sin shalmakim. It says in the parsha of V'hayim Shemeya v'yasafta d'gonecha v'sirishcha v'yitzerecha, etc. Says the Gemara in Brachis, this is referring to a time that Yidden are ein eisin etzein shalmakim. If you're going to look this up in the Gemara, Daf Lamed Hey Amid Beis, wherever you see the pasuk v'safta d'gonecha, read a little bit further, because earlier in the Amid, the Gemara actually says that v'safta d'gonecha is talking about Bizman she'Yisrael eisin etzein shalmakim, and Teisus addresses the stira. But a little further down in the Amid, the Gemara says over there that the fact that when the Yidden are eisin etzein shalmakim, then melachta nasis al de'achedim, and they don't need to go to the field and work the field because others will do their work for them. But when Yidden are not eisin etzein shalmakim, then they're not fulfilling the will of Hashem, then they have to do melachta nasis al de'atzman, they have to do their own avodah, and v'yasafta d'gonecha, they have to go out into the field, or we, I should say, have to go out into the field and to gather our grains and so on and so forth. So that's what it says in the Gemara. The v'safta d'gonecha is referring to a time when ein oisin ritzoyin shalmakim, when Yidden are not fulfilling the will of Hashem. V'lecheda tamua, and this raises a question. V'safta d'gonecha yabrav tachas abracha ba kitei tzal mashkas v'leil minei. V'hayim shmei tishmo mitzvei sevegeimar. V'safta d'gonecha is coming, is a bracha. It's a promise of Hashem's bracha that is coming as a result for what it says earlier in this parsha. When it will be that you will listen to the mitzvahs of Hashem, and you're going to serve Hashem with all your heart and with all your soul. So the Yidden are serving Hashem. So what does it mean they're not doing the Sin Shalmakim? They're listening to the Eibusher's mitzvahs. They're serving Hashem. So what do you mean they're not doing the will of Hashem? What could they be doing more? So this issue is discussed at length in Lekutei Torah, and he explains like this: to explain this contradiction. On the one hand, the pasuk says "V'hayim shmei tishmu," etc., and the Gemara says "Ein oisin etzein shalmakim." So Lekutei Torah explains the parsha zu hashniya lei nisker b'chol me'oidchem k'mei shekasav b'parshas Shema. In the first parsha of Kriyas Shema, it says, but in the second parsha of Shema, it doesn't mention it says says the Maimon in Lekutei Torah that it's referring to as man when the Yidden are not using the Mechol Me'oidchem to serve Hashem. Therefore, even though they're doing good and they're listening to the mitzvahs and they're serving Hashem, it's still not fully considered oisin etzein shalmakim. And therefore the Gemara says it's ein oisin etzein shalmakim. Because this is not the ultimate serving Hashem v'chol me'idecha. What is pshat? So to explain this concept that doing the will of Hashem can only be through the ava of b'chol me'itcha. So we have to explain two things, and now we're going to go into the understanding of certain ideas of Chassidus. The first thing we have to understand is this concept of makim and ritzoyin shel makim. And we're going to explain that makim, Hashem being called makim, so ritzoyin shel makim, it means the will of Hashem. But we're referring to Hashem as makim. And there's other places, for example, makim yinachem, where we refer to the Eibishter as makim, which means place or space. So if we were to use the different levels of manifestation of the course of godliness in this world, when we say the Eibishter is makim, we're referring to the Eibishter the way he comes down in a way that's limited by space, which would be Memalek Kol Almin. Memalek Kol Almin is the lower level of Gilui Elokus in the world, or Chayes Eliki into the world, and it is limited according to the confines of the Olam. The higher the Olam, the more Oyer. The lower the Olam, the less Oyer. As a matter of fact, in certain places in Chassidus it says that not only in the Olam itself, but in every detail of the Olam, there's a Chayes Eliki that is tailor-made to that specific item that it's being Mechaya. And therefore, it's called Mamala Kol Almin. It's the lower level of Il. It's Mamala that it goes inside of the Olamais, and it is Mugbal, it is limited according to the Olamais. And that's why it's called Mokaim, because it's the Eir Eliki, the way it is limited by Mokaim. On the other hand, when you speak about the Ratzon, as we know, is in a person, it refers to something that is beyond the specific koiches hagluyim of seichel and midas. It's beyond the expressions of either seichel, intellect, or midas, emotions. Ratzon is beyond that. Ratzon is not limited to the confines of a specific midah. So in Elokus, Ratzon refers to Elokus the way it's not confined to a specific makom. Namely, Seviv Kol Almin. It's connected to the Olamais, but it's not limited by the Olamais. And he's going to say that Oysin Ritzoyne Shel Mokim, I'm jumping ahead of myself a little bit, but Oysin Ritzoyne Shel Mokim is the fusion of Eira Seviv and Eira Mamala, bringing down Eira Seviv into Eira Mamala, bringing it down into the Eira Mazeh, into the Mokim. Let's see it inside, and then we're going to go to talk about B'chol Me'idecha. It's known the reason. Why is the Eibishter called Mokaim? Because he is the Mokaim of the world. Mokaim, the name of Hashem, Mokaim, refers to a level of Elokus that could be called Mokaim Shel that could be called the space of the world, that is limited by the space of the world. Which is a reference to which is embodied in the world, in the limited worlds, in the confines of space. But when you say the Ratzon of Hashem, refers to the level of Seviv Kol Almin, which is beyond being confined to the Mokim, to the space of worlds. So, now, what do I want to do? I want to bring down Ratzon into Mokim. I want to bring down Seviv Kol Almin into Elam Hazeh, into this Elam, into the Elam Migbalim. So for that I'm going to need B'chol Me'idecha. Me'oid, I don't know exactly how to translate it, but let's say the Me'oid means very. In English you would say very. Like Gadol Me'oid means very big. In other words, what the word Me'oid is an adjective that describes something else and just makes it more intense. So you want to say something is good, you say Toiv Me'oid, very good. It's more intense than just plain Toiv. Me'oid intensifies whatever it's describing. So in a person, when you say Me'oid, you're saying with all his intensity, with as much intensity as he could muster. So in the first parasha of Krishma, when it says B'chol levavcho, b'chol nafshecho, b'chol me'idecha, he's saying a person has to serve Hashem not just b'chol levavcho, b'chol nafshecha, but even more than that, b'chol me'idecha, with as much intensity, with as much me'oid, with as much power as he can. Why? Because he wants to bring down Eira B'li. And in order to bring down Eira B'li, you have to invest on a level of B'li Gvul. A person's avodah of the midah keneged midah. A person's avodah has to be consistent with the gilui that comes from it. So if a person is going to do a regular avodah, a limited avodah, then it's only going to bring down a limited oir. If he wants to bring down oir habli gvul, then he has to invest his own koyach habli gvul, his b'chol meidecha. When he invests his b'chol meidecha, which is his bli gvul, on his level, then he could draw down the oir habli gvul into his life. And that's what he's going to say about b'chol meidecha. If you want to draw down oisin etzoyni shel makom, you want to draw down it aseviv into oir hamamale, it's not enough for a person to do b'chol vavchem v'chol nafshechem, because if your avodah is mugbul, then it's not. Then you can't bring down oir habli gvul. Only when you do an avodah of b'chol meidecha, when your avodah is bli gvul, only then could you bring down oir haseviv. So dafke with b'chol meidecha, then is oisin etzoyni shel makom, then you could bring down ratz and seviv into makom, into elamis. But in the second parsha of Krishna, where there's no b'chol meidecha, there's no aveda of bli gvul of the person, then there's no reciprocity, there's no reaction milamaila of oisin etzoyni shel makom, of bringing down seviv kol almin into elamis. Let's see it inside. And that's why the avodah of which is said in the previous paragraph, is drawing down iraseviv into elamis, is dafka through b'chol meidecha ki kol avodah u'pu'ula lahamshich oir milamaila, because any avodah that's done from the person, that he wants to bring down a oir milamaila, tzarich liyes b'dugma la'oir hanimshach al yada. The avodah of the person has to reflect the oil that he wants to draw down through it. So therefore, in order to draw down the ritzoyne shel makom, which is the bli gvul of above, seviv kol almin, but davka al yedei ha'ava de'u b'chol meidecha bli gvul sheba'adam. It could only come if the person invests his own bli gvul, his b'chol meidecha. Even though the Rasev Kol Almin, which is David says Ratzon, is constantly affecting the worlds and giving them sustenance, and giving them life. Seviv Kol Almin is called Seviv Kol Almin because it's affecting the worlds. That's why it's Kol Almin. Nevertheless, as far as the Elamis are concerned, what they're interacting with is Eira Mamala, not Eira Seviv. But through the Ava B'chol Meidecha, through the investment of his Bli Gvul, he is able to imamshich that Ratzon, which is the Eir HaSeviv Kol Almin, the Eir Shalamayla, Begeder Elumis, should be felt in this world. And that's why we use the term that in Makom itself there should be a gilui of the air that's l'mayla mimakom. That's what it means. And like we said, that could only be done through the person investing his koyach habli gvul, his b'chol meidecha. You say to Mizu in the parentheses, not only are we drawing down into makim, but in addition to that, there's an even higher level, which is makim orain eino min hamida, makim ulemayla me hamakim biyachad nimna hanim nois. This is a very famous concept, but in case you need me to explain it, I'll mention it very briefly. It says in the Gemara, Mokim Aron Eini Min Amida, that the Aron was not part of the count. What does that mean? That means that the Kodesh HaKadoshim was 10 amis wide. The Aron was 2.5 amis wide. Nevertheless, when you put the Aron in the middle of the Aron Kodesh, of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, when you count it from the wall till the Aron, you'd get 10 amis. When you count it from the other wall till the Aron, you would get another 10 amis, and which totals 20 amis, which basically means that even though if you went from wall to wall, you got 20 amis, and you got 20 amis, and in the middle you have an aron that if you measure it is 2.5 amis, nevertheless when you measure it from the wall to the aron, when you measure from the other wall to the aron, it was as if the aron wasn't even there. You got the full space of the Kodesh HaKadoshim even without counting the aron. How is this possible? So scientifically I don't know, and practically I don't either know, but Chassidus explains that there was a fusion of a combination of Mokim and Lamayla Me'amokim. If you can measure the aron, and it was 2.5 amas. You could measure the walls from one wall to the other wall, and it all added up, and then it didn't add up because you had Mokim and you had Lamayla Me'amokim in one. In the Lashon Chassidus, it's called Nimna Nimnois, which means the impossibility of the impossibility. In other words, in our minds, either it's possible or it's impossible. That impossible should be impossible is something that's beyond our comprehension. That's called Nimna Nimnois. Something that's the impossible that's impossible. Which means basically that we can't understand it, but in the physical space of this world, there was a fusion of space and beyond space in one space. So when we say Eisin Etzayin Shel Makayim, not only are we referring to the fact that we're drawing down the Maile Me'amokim in Makayim, but the Makayim retains its parameters even more. Mokim Aron Min Amida, that when we draw down this oir properly, we actually take Mokim away from its regular parameters because we fuse together Mokim and Lamayla Me'amokim in one. So what we learned in Ois Dalet is we now understand what does it mean Eisin Etzayin Shel Mokim. Eisin Etzayin Shel Mokim means to draw down Eira Sevav Kalalman, Eir Shel Lamayla Me'olamis into Eilamis. And the way we do that is through investing our koiches habli gvulim, our infinite koiches into our avodah, and then the reaction to that is the Eibishter's koich habli gvul, or habli gvul, coming down into our mokum. V'hinei hashayches hamyichedes shel inyan the Eisin Etzayin Shel Mokim l'mitzvah Sfiras Eimer. So how does this come back to Sfiras Eimer? What does it mean when we say that through Sfiras Eimer, Eimer Tzayin Tvimis, Bizman Sheyisrael Eisin Etzayin Shel Mokim, V'yad shal yod dafkin nefeles manas atvimis v'mitzvah Sfiras Eimer. So how does these two issues, Eisin Etzayin Shel Mokim and Sfiras Eimer, combine? It goes like this: Ha'Eimer ha'yam Yisrael, Michael Behema. The Eimer, the carbon ha'Eimer, was made up of barley, which is Michael Behema. The inyana shel Sfiras Eimer, and the inyana of Sfiras Eimer. Sfiras over here is emphasized because Sfira normally means counting, but Sfira Gamilosh and Evan Sapir. Sfira could also come from the words a shining stone, Zachus ubehirus, refinement and shine, clarity. Ubirur v'zichu chamidus nefesh abamis. So the idea, the avodah of Sfiras Eimer is the avodah of being mevarer or mezachach, refining and cleansing and purifying the nefesh abamis. Now, we find that Yetzias Mitzrayim, for example, it says Le'al de Malach, Le'al de Saraf, Le'al de Shliach Alakas Baruch Hu B'chvoide V'atzmei. Only the Eivishter was able to take the Yidden out of Mitzrayim. Why? It's Kibarach Ha'am, they had to run away from Mitzrayim. Why? Because the Yidden were Shakua and Memte Shari Tumah. They were immersed in 49 levels of Tumah. They were one level away from what Chassidus would tell us would be total destruction. And therefore the Eivishter had to grab them out in the last moment, and they had to run out of Mitzrayim because they shouldn't fall into Sharanun, to the 50th and final level of Tumah. Why did they need the Eibishter, not a Malach, not a Saraf, not a Shliach? Because nobody else could take them out of this. They were so deeply immersed in Tumah that if any other element other than the Eibishter himself, B'chvoide V'yatzim, would try to pull them out, rather than getting them out, they would pull that element in. Nobody was safe. The only way to get the Yidden out of Mitzrayim, nothing was safe. The only way to get the Yidden out of Mitzrayim was the Eibishter B'chvoide V'yatzim. In other words, if we were to apply that to Avodas Adam, there are times that the Nefesh Abamis is in such a state that if the Nefesh Elikiz by itself comes to try to influence it or to work on it, the Nefesh Elikiz gets drawn into the Nefesh Abamis's world, and it doesn't affect a bit of a Zichach Nefesh Abamis. Therefore, the Nefesh Elikiz needs a Koyach from a higher level than itself to hold it strong, to be able to give it the strength it needs to be Mevada the Nefesh Abamis, so that it should influence the Nefesh Abamis and not be drawn in to the Nefesh Abamis. That's what he says in the Sikha. The koyach to be able to be Mevada the Nefesh Abamis, the Meshach, the Yemei Asfira, can only happen through the koyach that comes from above, from a level that's l'mayla meishtashlus. Chassidus explains on the words "Usfartem lachem imachas Shabbos." You should count. Which literally means starting the day after Shabbos. Chassidus says that the koyach for the avodah v'sfartem lachem, which is the bidur nefesh abamis, he mimachras Shabbos. The koyach comes from mimachras Shabbos, from beyond Shabbos. We know, of course, that Shabbos is part of the cycle of the 7 days of the week, which is part of Seder HaYishtalshelus. Mimachras Shabbos refers to the 8th day, or the 8th level. That's beyond Shabbos. Basically, the Eid in Sav Shemamaylam is Seder HaYishtalshelus. So the Chassidus says that you want to do Sfartem Lachem, you need Mimachras Shabbos. Now, let's not allow this Machas Shabbos to confuse us with the complete weeks, because it's not connected. This Pshat and Machas Shabbos. This Pshat and Machas Shabbos is just trying to bring out the point that in order to successfully work on the Zichuch Ubidir of the Nefesh Abamis, you need to go to a Bchina, to a level Shalamayla Mishtashlos. V'lochein, Shleimus Ha'aveda D'Sfiras Eimen Ikesher Yisrael Tzeinis Shulmakim. So therefore, the completion of the Avedus Firas Eimer is when Yisrael Tzeinis Shulmakim. Hainu Amshachas Bechinas Haratzin Shalamayla Me'yishtalshelus V'Agbala D'Makim V'Ad B'Hamidus Nefesh Abamis. When you're able to draw down the Ratzin, which is beyond the Ishtalshelus and beyond the worlds, and bring it down into Makim, into space, into the confines of physical space, and bring it down even into the midas of the Nefesh Abamis. So now Sfiras Ha'Eimer and Yisrael Tzeinis Shulmakim are totally intertwined. What does mean Yisrael Tzeinis Shulmakim? To draw down a Seviv into Eid HaMamala, Eid HaBligvul into Gvul. What's that Sfiras Ha'Eimer? To provide the Nefesh Abamis. How do you do that? By being Mamshech HaKoyach Shalamayla Me'yishtalshelus into the midas of the Nefesh Abamis. So Yisrael Tzeinis Shulmakim and Sfiras Ha'Eimer work hand in hand. Now let's go to Tmimos. In other words, we understand what Yisrael Tzeinis Shulmakim means. We understand what Sfiras Ha'Eimer is all about and the connection between Yisrael Tzeinis Shulmakim and Sfiras Ha'Eimer. Now let's take it over to Tmimos and the fact that it says in the Kehelas Rabbah that Tmimos is dependent on the Kvius of when you're counting Omer, and when you're counting the Omer from Sunday to Shabbos, then you have Tmimos. So based on this, we'll also understand what the Medrash says, that when do you get Tmimos? When the days of Sfira are in the order of the days of the week. And here he's going to tell us something. He's going to introduce this idea that the days of the week are different than the days of the month or the months or the year. And because of that, the days of the week are unique, and they lend a different significance to Omer. And let's see what he means over here. Time could be divided into 3 patterns. Yemei HaShavua, days of the week. Yemei HaChedesh, days of the months. Yemei HaShana, and days of the year. Omnam yesh chiluk bein hekef hayamim shel Shavua ubein hekef shel Yemei HaChedesh v'Hashana. There's going to be a difference, a strong difference between the cycle of weekdays and the cycle of months or of days of the months or days of the years. In other words, we're dividing days of the week in one category and days of the months and days of the year in a second category. And for two differentiations. Aleph. Days of the week, days of the months and days of the year are different, one from another. Every day is different in a very obvious way, even on a very physical, practical sense. What makes a month? The cycle of the moon. Now, in the beginning of the month, the moon is a dot. Then the moon waxes every day until the middle of the month. The moon is in a state of completion, of fullness. And then the second half of the month, the moon wanes until the end of the month. The moon disappears. So every day is different. Aleph, the moon is one dot. Beis, the moon is a little bit more. Gimel, it's more. Your Dalet is Vav, it's almost full. It's full. Tezayin, it gets a little smaller. Chavtes, Lamed, it's once again a dot or nothing. B'mei Hashana, when you're talking about the days of the year, besides the fact that throughout the year itself has different seasons. You know, the winter, the summer, the spring, the fall, etc. Again, what is the year? Just like a month is made up of, is based on the cycle of the moon, a year is based on seasons. As a matter of fact, Shana, the word Shana means changing because it contains all the changes of the seasons. But so every day in the beginning of Tkufas Tammuz, it's very, very hot. In the end of Tkufas Tammuz, it's not so hot anymore because the days are getting cooler and cooler, or warmer and warmer. Every season, it's not just for 3 months a year, you have the exact same temperature every single day. It constantly changes. So if a year is made up of seasons, the seasons are changing gradually, day by day. So signing the month and signing the year, every day is different. But if you're looking at the days of the week, spiritually you have Shabbos, you do have differences, but practically, physically, there's no difference between Monday and Tuesday. In other words, as a week, Monday might be a little shorter than Tuesday, but that has nothing to do with the week. That has to do with the seasons, or that has to do with the moon. But looking at it from the perspective of 7 days of a week, you don't see any difference between Tuesday or Wednesday, between this day and that day. So in other words, differentiation number one is that in the month and in the years, every day is different. In the week, every day is the same. In general, when you look at the week as a whole, or the month and the year as a whole, months and years have a patterned, ordered set of numbers. Ha'alef, ha'beis, tavshin samach, tavshin samach alef, tavshin samach beis. Even the months, you have the first month, the second month, the third month. Mashayki b'shvuos, but in the weeks, you don't have, this week is not called the fourth week, and the next week the fifth week. It's parsha this, parsha that, however you refer to the week. There's no numbers, organized, patterned numbers for weeks. So months and years have numbers, have a pattern, or I don't know the word is pattern, or the word is an organized system of numbers, and weeks do not. In short, weeks seem to be very consistently the same, and months and years seem to be constantly evolving and changing. V'habir, why is that? Every year is different in the spiritual chayis that comes down into the world, that sustains the world. Every Rosh Hashanah, a new chayis comes down, a new vitality comes down into the world that is different than the chayis that was there the previous year. So every year is different. Every year is different chayis. Within each year, the months of the year, every Chodesh there is a new chayis that comes down for that month, and every month is more, there's different, it's constantly changing, so every month is different, and every year is different. When it comes to the week, the chayis of this week and the chayis of last week or the chayis of next week, it's all the same thing. And therefore, every week we count the same Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in the days of the week. Even though from the creation of the world till now there are thousands and tens of thousands of days. We don't count them differently. Day number 10,001, day number 10,002. Because it's the same 7 days, it's the same cycle, it's repeating itself again and again. So there's a very great emphasis here that in the days of the week, everything is consistent. And in the days of the months and the years, there is constant change. And this difference between the days of the months and the years versus the days of the week, also is expressed, is seen in the number of days. When it comes to the months, some months have 29 days, some months have 30 days, but you don't have a set number of days for each month. Also in the year, there's 3 different patterns. If Cheshvan and Kislev both have 29 days, it's called Chaseda. If Cheshvan has 30 days, has 29 days, and Kislev has 30 days, then it's called Kisidra. And if they both have 30 days, it's called Shlema. But again, there would be a difference in the number of days. And then you have a Shana Pshuta, Shana Muberes. On top of that, you could have another 29 days in an extra Ibriyar, so 30 days. So there's 5 different configurations that would tell you how many days the year. Some years have 383 days, and some years have our communion Shana 355 or 354, even if it's a Chaseda. It's a difference of 30 days, 29 days. So we find that even in the numbers. I think every single week is 7 days. I remember hearing from Rabbi Shapiro from Miami. When I was in yeshiva, I remember him telling us once that in Russia, when they were introducing communism and they were trying to get rid of the religions, they tried to change the week to a week of 5 days. That way, by Yidden we have Shabbos. Other religions have their day of rest on other days of the week. But each religion had a cycle of 7 days, which ended with their day of rest. So in order to abolish religion, they tried to make a week of 5 days, also 5, 10, 15, 20. It's much easier. The times table was much easier than 7. And it didn't work. It didn't stick. Rabbi Shapiro explained at the time that basically the world was created in 7 days because the cycle of the number 7 is the foundation of creation. And therefore, you couldn't play around with the days of the week. You could play with the months, you could play with the years, but you can't play around with the days of the week, because the Yesod of Briyas Ha'olam is that the 7 days of the week are consistent with the 7 midos, like the Shesh Hashem Masa and the Shit Al Fishnin. It's all related one to another. So in short, in Ois Vav, we learned that when it comes to days of the week, there is a strong sense of consistency. We don't count 1 week after another week. There's exact same amount of days every single week, and every single day is similar to the day before it. There's no difference between the days. Masha Ein Kain, when it comes to months and years, they have different numbers, and they have every year is different than the next year, and even the days within the months and years, every day is different than the other day. So this is very important, that when it comes to the days of the week, there's a certain sense of consistency and sameness, if that's a word, that you have b'mei HaShavua. Zeu gam hatam, and this is going to now explain to us the concept of Tmimus. שבשעון השחול פסח בשבס וימי הספירה. הם בריסי הסדר דימי בראשיס נמשך אז עניין התמימות בדרך ממילא. That this explains why when you're talking about a year where Pesach falls on Shabbos and the days of the Sfira are following the days of the week, Sunday through Shabbos, this brings down the Tmimos automatically. That which in other years you need to have Eisen Essential Makim in order to have Tmimos. And this is why they did this in Makim in Yanam Shachas We explained previously in Siv Dalet that the idea of Essential Makim is to draw down Ratzin, which is the Rabbi, the infinite oil that's beyond Olamais, that's beyond being confined to Makim, drawing it down into the confines of Makim. And when the days of Sfira are consistent with the days of the week, then the days of Sfira contain inherently this fusion of Ratzin and Makim, Bli Gvul and Gvul, because also in the days of the week you have the same combination of Gvul and Bli Gvul, infinity and finiteness. Time, regardless of what time you're talking about, even days of the week, time by definition is dividable. Past, present, future. That's what time is. The whole idea of time is that everything is constantly moving. So on the one hand, time is dividable. It's changeable. Nevertheless, we just explained in Eizvav that the days of the week have a certain consistency to them, that they are beyond change. Unlike the days of the months of the year that are constantly changing, the days of the week don't change. So on the one hand, because it's considered time, there is a certain sense of evolving, of changing. On the other hand, there's a certain sense of consistency and not changing in the days of the week. So the days of the week have L'mayla me'is chalkus and ischalkus, which is consistent with the idea of L'mayla me'a gvul. Mayla me'elam is bli gvul and gvul. V'lochein, therefore, when the days of Sfira begin from Sunday, then the order of the days of Sfira are in the same order of the days of the week, the way they were created in Chases Mebreshis. This completion that Gvul and Bli Gvul have, this completion that the days of the week have, that they contain both Gvul and Bli Gvul, it helps, it gives also to the days of Sfira, that also in the days of Sfira also have this concept of Tmimos, also have this fusion of Gvul and Bli Gvul. In other years, you would need to rely on Eisen Shenshel Mokim, on the avodah of the Yidden, where they're being mevared the nefesh abamis, and they're being mamshech the koyach of the Eid Bli Gvul, to give them the koyach to be mevared the nefesh abamis, which also would be bringing down Eid Bli Gvul into Gvul. So we've pretty much answered most of our questions. We understand that even though every year you can have Tmimos, if you count Sfira properly, but a deeper level of Tmimos you only have in certain cases. What does Tmimos mean? Tmimos basically means Ritzoy Nishal Makim. It means bringing together the Eid Bli Gvul and the Eid Gvul, or bringing down Eid Bli Gvul into Makim, into the place, into Malak Al-Almin, into the place that is Mugbul by Makim. So when you have Eisen and Tzedishal Makim, when the Yidden do the Avodah in a manner that they draw down Ratzin into Makim, then you have Tmimos, because you have the Chibur, the combination, the bringing together of Eid Bli Gvul and Gvul. When you have a year where you're counting the Omer according to the days of the week, that the days of Sfira are consistent with the days of the week, then in the days of the week, you also have a fusion of Gvul and Bli Gvul. Because as we said in Ois Zayin, that on the one hand, Zman is Chalkus. So since you're counting days, there is a sense of division. On the other hand, because it's days of the week, it's above division. Which Yimei HaChodesh, Yimei HaShana would be have much more as Chalkus. Therefore, days of the week bring together Gvul and Bli Gvul. L'maylo me is Chalkus and is Chalkus. L'maylo me Zman and Zman. And therefore, you have this fusion. Therefore, it's considered to be mice. It's considered complete. Amazing. The only thing we still have to talk about is Yeshua and Shachnia. In other words, we already explained why a siman was necessary. In Eis Beis, the reason we bring a siman is because we want to tell you that we're not trying to say that you can't have Tmimis at all, because Tmimis Kipshuta you have every year. It's only Tmimis B'Pnimisa in Yanim that is dependent on Yeshua and Shachnia or on Osin Son Shel Makim. So that's why he brings a remez and doesn't just say it out clear, B'zman Shachol Pesach B'Shabbos or something similar to that. But the question is there a significance specifically to the siman of Yeshua and Shachnia? In the beginning of the Sikh he said, Yeshua and Shachnia is something that is Mishmaris, so people don't know it necessarily, what the Mishmaris are. The Mishmaris came much later. Why does the Medrash choose to use Yeshua and Shachnia as the siman? So he's going to answer that in Noisches. This, based on all this, that the whole idea of Tmimos is Eisin Senishal Makayim, which is the Chibur of Eira Bli Gvul and Gvul. Now we can understand why the Medrash uses the siman of Yeshua and Shachnia. Because in the siman you will also see this concept of drawing down the Ratzon of the Eibishter into the world, which is the idea of Eisin Senishal Makim. The word Yeshua, Miloshin Yeshiacha, comes from the Loshin Yeshiacha, which means Hashem should help you. Shachni comes from the word V'shachanti, I will dwell amongst you. Miloshin Achsidis, and it used the terminologies of Chassidus. With regards to Gilei Elokus, Yeshua, Yeshua, salvation, deliverance. Vayisha literally means he turned. Hashem turned to accept Hevel and his mincha, his gift. So the word Yeshua comes from this idea of the Eibishter's acceptance, the Eibishter turning towards it. This is the concept of the bringing down, drawing down the oil, the light, and the abundance of 370 lights that are mentioned in the Zohar. You look at the word Vayisha, Vav Yud, and then you have Shin Ayin. Shin Ayin is 370. So there's 370 Nehorim mentioned in Zohar, and that's what Vayisha is, bringing down the oil of the Eibishter into the world. This means drawing down the level of Ein Seif HaMaitzil, which is above even the beginning on the highest levels of Atzilus and Ishtalshalus, coming from outside, from beyond Atzilus and Ishtalshalus. V'hainu. So what does this mean? Yeshua, Miloshin Yeshua, made al B'chinas Eretz Shamayim Ishtalshalus. Yeshua is referring to Eretz Shamayim Ishtalshalus because Yeshua comes from Yeshua, which means salvation, or deliverance, which comes from the word of Vayisha, which is referring to the Yeridas Ha'er V'Hashefa of the Neshina Ayin Ha'erin. So Vayisha means drawing down the Eretz Shamayim Ishtalshalus. V'Shachnia, the word Shachnia Sheikada Yu Shachen, which literally means a neighbor or someone dwelling nearby. Which comes from the same word as Shechina, referring to the level of Elokus that dwells in the worlds. So Yeshua is Seviv, or the Eretz Shel Malam Ishtalshalus, and Yeshachnia is Malak Olam, Eragvu. V'nimtza, Shetzirif Yeshua v'Shachnia, when you bring together Yeshua v'Shachnia in a siman, You're bringing together the which is alluded to in the name Yeshua, and the Elamala, which is alluded to in the name Shachnia, which is the same idea as Ritzainai Shel Makim, bringing down Otzin into Makim. So this explains why the Medrash uses this mashal, this siman. The reason that the Medrash uses this kviyus, is mesamin, makes a simin of this kviyus of Yeshua v'shachniya. What the Medrash is trying to say is that when is it tmimois, meaning to say, when do you have the tmimois mitzad atzmam? You have them without the oisin etzayni shel makim. Gam kasher leish no aved the oisin etzayni shel makim. Hamanu mezas be Yeshua v'shachniya. Oisin etzayni shel makim is alluded to in Yeshua v'shachniya because the chibur of Yeshua v'shachniya is the idea of oisin etzayni shel makim. He wants to say that when you have tmimois, meaning this without Yeshua v'shachniya. ולכן אמר אמר סנטימיס בזמן שאין ישוע ושachniya ביניהם שבקביעס כזו שלא יש פה משמרות ישוע ושachniya. This kviyus, when you don't have Yeshua v'shachniya serving between Pesach and Shavuos, meaning gam kasher lo yesh no aveda menumaz Yeshua v'shachniya, even when you don't have the aveda that's menumaz Yeshua v'shachniya, which is Oisir Tzeni Shel Makim, chibur of Eid Abligvul and Eid Gvul. Nevertheless, they're still considered tmimois because they are going according to the order of the weeks, and the order of the weeks has inherently the chibur of Eid Abligvul and Eid Gvul. So this explains why the Medrash uses this siman, because it wants to bring out this nekuda that when do you have tmimois, even when you don't have Yeshua v'shachniya, you don't have Eisen Tzeni Shel Makim, you still have tmimois because of the kviyus of the weeks. And now this has answered all of our questions. We now understand what the Medrash is trying to say, that there's a deeper level of tmimois. When is it tmimois? Either when you sell Eisen Tzeni Shel Makim, because the whole idea of tmimois is to the chibur of Eid Abligvul and Gvul, Ritzainai and Ratzin and Makim, Seviv and Memala. And you could either do that through Eisen Shel Makim, through being mevarad and nefesh habamis with the kayach with bechol meidcha, which you do with the kayach in soif that comes from Ma'ala Meishtalshlus, or in a year where the kviyus is bizman she Yeshua v'shachniya b'neihem, which means the kviyus is that your Pesach is on Shabbos and you're counting from Sunday to Shabbos the days of the week. Then you have the Maila, that the days of the week themselves have a chibur of the Maila me'azman and zman, the Maila me'eschalkus and eschalkus, the Maila me'abligvul and gvul. So you already have this chibur of these two elements together, and therefore it's considered tmimois. And that's the pshat in the Medrash and in the two Medrashim, in Kayalas Rabbah and in Vayikra Rabbah, based on the understanding of Chassidus in what is truly the Aveda of Sfiras HaEmer, that it's all about Bidur Nefesh Habamis, by using the Aveda of B'chol Me'edcha, by bringing down the Kayach Ha'ein Soif into our Aveda. Once we understand what Sfiras HaEmer is truly all about, we understand how to make them tmimois through our Aveda, and how that sometimes we don't even need our Aveda. There's an automatic tmimois that comes just because of the kviyus.